right, welcome back, guys. Sunday night time, and we got the Monday market report for you. This is for the week ending November 6th, 2023. All right, so we got the big banging coins have sold here on great collections this evening. Some pretty nice stuff showing that the market continues to be healthy. There's been a lot of talk and grumblings about a little bit weaker, quieter numismatics market, and it really depends on where you look at. Some of the rarities, some of the high grade stuff will continue to get pursued at a rapid rate, and the prices, there's really no ceiling on some of these things. But for a lot of the more common stuff, we're beginning to see a little bit of slowdown on some of those type of things, not only in collectible type coins, but also in precious metals as well. We're seeing a slowdown in the sales of precious metals on other platforms like eBay and whatnot. I think when the market is good right now and everybody recognizes it, then there's obviously going to be kind of an explosion on the supply side. And maybe not quite the demand as there once was, maybe over the summer. It was quite the anomaly this year that the summertime was very busy. But I'm telling you guys right now, the collectible higher tier stuff, if you have any of it, is doing extremely well. The market is still really good for these. Something to keep in mind if you're looking to move maybe some of your pieces. So we have a lot of that in full display today. A lot of PCGS and NGC graded bombs. Of course, the registry set getting plenty of love this week. We'll talk about that as well. I'm ready to jump into this again. All of the market data courtesy of greatcollections.com. Your one-stop shop for some nice premium coins. If you're looking to add to your collection, I do it every week, and shame on me. I really ought to slow down, but I can't. It's so addicting to use the platform. But yeah, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. I like buying from them, and selling pretty good as well. All right, so let's go ahead and check and see what we have here. We have 23 total coins to talk about. Here's one of those big registry set coins to have hit the open market this week. 1990D Lincoln Memorial Cent. The finest grade of what you can find for this particular date. PCGS Mid-State 69 Red is the level that you need to be at for this type of coin. All right, 68 won't get you there. And again, grading these hyper modern type dates, it's a slippery slope. Oftentimes most people fail at trying to gain the highest level, but when you do, the prices and the riches at the end of the day all kind of come together. So this one right here ended up hammering tonight for $2,986.88. A good coin to sell and then just buy lots of early pre-1933 type gold. That's how I see these things. Me personally, I would never grade things like this because I've tried and I've cried, and we ain't doing that any longer. All right, so there you go. Our first coin just so happens to be a top pop graded 1990D. The next one that we have here, we have the perfect grade 1981S proof Lincoln Memorial Cent. Perfect graded on the Sheldon scale is a perfect 70. All right, whenever you see a 70 on a graded label, that is perfection. All right, the coin is perfect in every way. This one also exhibits some really nice deep cameo contrast. You have just a beautiful frost on all of the raised design devices, offset by the flat black mirrory fields. It's a match made in heaven. Anytime you find a proof coin that exhibits the strength of both, then you've certainly hit a home run. All right, which a lot of the newer coins certainly have. You'd be hard-pressed to get either a 69 or a 70 on a lot of the coins from the last 20 years. But once you get, kind of go back into the 80s, the 70s, those particular decades, Earning that perfect 70 is not as easy as it seems. Also worth mentioning, this one does say Type 1, and that's the mid-mark design. There's a Type 1 and a Type 2 for 1981. On the Lincoln Cent, it doesn't mean as much, but on things like the Susan B. Anthony dollar, it does. That's where the prices jump up really high for a Type 1 mid-mark on those. So this one right here, pretty high population, all right, given the fact that it's a perfect 70. There's quite a few of these. And this one sold for $1,293.75. So probably at one point this was a $2,000 coin, but just the influx of perfect 70s that have entered the marketplace and that have been graded by guys like PCGS and NGC have greatly adjusted that supply and demand factor for the coins. The next couple that we have here, these are all like high grade PCGS and NGC singular dates of Lincoln Wheat cents. Again, more likely registry set coins is what we're looking at here. Here's a 1956 Lincoln Wheat, a very common date, but in 67 it's a rarity. This one was graded by NGC, full red even. This one sold for $1,035. There's a pretty big price discrepancy between an NGC 67 than a PCGS 67 because the registry sets kind of like build and it branches out from PCGS's registry and then outward, So that's why there's a lot more importance to the PCGS graded finer coins than there is NGC because of that designation. So $1,035 on this one. But no real comparison here. A 68 plus red deep cameo on any 1950s proof coin is quite the monumental, lottery win. We just don't see the cameo frost on these coins, during this decade. At first blush, a lot of the coins that were struck from a fresh prepared set of dies where they actually took the time to sandblast the devices to create the cameo frost, they only last for a few strikes, not much before it all smoothens out. So this one right here, finest grade, as you would expect, and it carries a hefty price tag, keeping in mind that this is a coin that you can find out of a set that customarily sells for about $35 to $40. So it's not an incredibly expensive set to cherry pick from. And it's common enough that there's quite a few of them out there. So again, it's all about finding this type. So how about a sale of $9,562.50 on this one? There are even some folks that don't participate in the registry set program that might actually want a coin like this. Just an erstwhile Lincoln Cent aficionado, I suppose, that doesn't participate in any of the PCGS stuff. So quite an exquisite example. Again, this is something that maybe we see once a year. They show up that infrequently, and when they do, they usually explode onto the scene. We also have this 53S, really pretty mid-state 67 red, nice satiny surfaces. Put this one in with the 56. You just have the beginnings of a nice registry. PCGS graded this one this time around, and this one sold for $1,944. We also have a 44D. Generally, the Denver struck 40s Lincolns are very nice. They're very deep. They're very strong. They got the satiny look to them, right out of a BU roll. So it was no surprise that 68 did end up popping up. I've even seen and heard of 68s on PCGS slabs as well. This one is graded by NGC. This one sold for $1,919.88. Again, very nice sale. Considering NGC graded top pop coin to be kind of second fiddle to a PCGS one. But the people that invest in these invest in a registry set. They have the deepest pockets possible, so they have tons of monetary leverage to throw, your way if you had one of these coins. And 43S. Now this one's an interesting one. This is a D. Brent Pogue collection piece, so it's got quite the provenance to it. It's a PCGS graded Mid-State 68. That's the one you want. It's got also the cat green sticker on there, which kind of validates the 68 grade that PCGS assigned it. All right, so there's a lot of stuff here with this coin. Really pretty. It's iconic, one shot, steely. We all know the story of this coin. And this one sold for $4,050, which has been one of the higher prices for a 68 that we have seen in a while. And 42S, I'd say we have a couple more 1 cent denoms here. The 42S is very nice. Much like the 44D, the San Francisco minted coins, exhibited a very smooth satiny finish to them. And I think that's what really makes them pretty. But also at the same time, the graders grade these a lot more stricter, all right, because they're so generally well struck. They're going to have to push you to submit the best possible coin to them. This one right here, PCGS graded as a Mid-State 68 red. Stunning coin, again, registry set, $6,760.12 was the payday on this one. And then finally, we have a 1926S, just kind of like a random date, out of the blue. Some would consider it kind of just on the outside of being a semi-key date for the series. Coins that generally grade about VF condition, which is like a normal grade for these things. They still sell in the $6 to $10 range, all right? And that, says a lot for the series, where a lot of other coins of the same decade traditionally sell for about $0.25 in VF. This is a very important date, one that doesn't show up on the scene too often in red grades. This one, just a 64 red, but we understand that these particular coins were the workhorse of America, back around the Great Depression age. No one really saved these coins at the time. They were used and abused as a monetary instrument. So when one of these pops around, again, it's nice to chronicle it and to talk about it. This one sold for $7,603.88. Again, we're talking about a 64 red here. It's a grade that doesn't really set the world on fire, but in this particular case of this coin, it does. All right, now we are down to nickels. Now we took a look at the 56 Lincoln proof. All right, there seem to be a number of really stunning 1956 proof coins that sold here this week. We also have the nickel in attendance. Does that grade look familiar to you? Because it should. The Lincoln cent graded at 68 plus decam, and so did the nickel that you see here. Again, the frost that's offset by those jet black mirrory fields. This is more of a rarity than it is the case. All right, we don't see this that often. That frost is usually whittled down after, the first like 50 to 100 strikes. So it's in elusive company indeed when it comes to grading. So in this particular case, the coin sold for $6,030. Again, we're looking at a very rich proposition here for these. Again, stressing that these coins are generally found in sets that are valued at about $35 to $40. So yeah, keep that in mind. Still quite kind of an affordable cherry pick if you have the local resource that sells these. So it's not a waste of your time to look for coins that exhibit this kind of finish. 1949 Jefferson nickel coming up next. Just one of those EIEIO dates. It's not something that's going to blow you away, but it is a necessity for most registry sets. NGC popped this one as a 66 with 5 full steps this time around. Luster, kind of, I don't know, average, if maybe subpar on this one. not the best looking coin. It does have kind of a thin skin of toning on there as well. This one sold for $1,912.50. Again, the difference in value between an NGC and a PCGS grade, there is some discrepancy there. A few nice buffaloes. How about 35S? Okay, pretty decent date. Nothing that's too crazily scarce, We're still in the mid-30s here on these, and this one is a PCGS 67 this time around. Showing and exhibiting a lot of fantastic luster on here, which is par for the course for this date. And because of that, this one sold for $1,996.88. Again, another pretty looking early classic. 29S, things get progressively even more difficult once we cross over into the 20s, and the 29 is not immune to some of this high power sales stuff. 29S in a 67 NGC holder this time around. Still pretty nice luster. It doesn't quite match up to the 35S that we just looked at, but for a 1920s kind of pinnacle decade, this is the type of luster that you don't traditionally see. This one right here sold for $4,614.26. All right, now we're on to dimes, and like we had said before, 1956 proof coinage getting a little bit of love here this week. We also have this proof 68 deep cameo Rosie. Again, not something that you typically see in those proof sets, but when you do find one, hip hip hooray! It's something nice, for a change. So you can see. Just a jet black mirrory fields, the frost, don't need to rehash this one. It sold for $1,010.25. Not quite to the level as the other coins, probably because this one's not a 68 plus. That probably would have shot this one up a little bit more money, but a beauty nonetheless. Speaking of beauty, we all like some of this, decades-old toning that develops on these coins after a while. It's anybody's guess where this particular example was stored in, It'd be great to know that maybe it was sitting in some old guy's credenza, that he found a long time ago. You just never know. And, when you do come across things like this, I know for a lot of people, the initial reaction is, man, I got to dip this thing. It looks horrible. But you're stripping years of original skin off the coin. And that's, kind of what people want to see. They want the originality. They want the artistic quality and the color of the things. And they're going to pay you and reward you handsomely for such coins. So, I have to kind of tell folks, whatever your differences are on the toning market, whether you hate it or love it or whatever the case may be, you have to understand that people are paying absorbent amount of money for such coins, and you might as well take advantage of that, right? If you're into blast white coins and that's all you like, great. Sell the tone coin, make a buttload of money, and then go ahead and buy whatever you want on the blast white side. So 68 full bands, NGC graded coin here. How about $4,001.62? Yeah, that's about 4x what this coin normally would sell for, but because of the toning, it has that adjusted market premium. Now there you go. That's for you blast white fans out there. 41 in a 68 full bands NGC holder. Yeah, check out the price difference. $1,448.61. And we're not splitting an atom here, folks. The mintage difference between 41 and 43 is negligible because they made so many of these that, with no toning, that's going to be your price difference, 2 to 3x difference in value because one coin doesn't have toning on it. And again, you guys need to realize that and kind of temper your choice to want to dip this thing in jewelry cleaner, because when someone's willing to pay you 4x what the market value is of a blast white coin, you might as well do it. And of course, a 1916D in good 4 used to be a $500 coin about 10 years ago. What in the heck happened here where this thing ended up selling for $1,048.50? It's not even that great a looking of a coin, in a good 4. You have a pretty nasty gash there on R and T and Liberty, but that's okay. It's, again, par for the course for the grade. And, if you absolutely must need the key date, here it is. But it's going to set you back about $800 to $1,000 on the low end for this kind of grade. And why not? Because the mint mark is still, on its own there. It hasn't officially kind of melded into the rim like you normally see it with a lot of circulation wear. So it's good to see this. Nice example, just for type. And boy, are they getting pricey. So, yeah, we have a couple kind of nutty quarters here. We have a 1961. It just looks plain to me, but keep in mind it's a Mid-State 67 by PCGS. Apparently, the 1960s, early 60s, 90% silvers are really tough to find in the 67. The quality was just not there. Mid-employees, they were kind of like, they had 1 foot out the door on the silvers because they knew they were going to transition to the copper nickel clad. So this one right here, $1,501.88 was the sale price. All right, not to be outdone though. This thing is more of a monster than probably it deserves. 1960D Washington quarter, quite the rarity. Any Denver Mint early 60s quarter, should be on a microscope for fascination because these things, they sell for a lot of money. NGC 67 plus, CAC green sticker as well, as if it needed that. $3,487.50. Crazy is kind of the word to use here, but there are a few other, I guess, expletives to use as well to describe a coin like this. 1950S, nothing too dramatic. This one is a 67 plus. All right, it's again 1950s quarters are generally very nice. They got great luster. Even their good old 1950S here with that original hazy skin to it, a little bit of toning. Again, that's originality for collectors. CAC green bean sticker as well, $1,080, and it's not even the finest grade. All right, so quite the difference between this and the two 1960s quarters we just looked at. And of course, 32D. We cannot talk about Washington quarters unless there's a huge sale of one of the key dates. It's either 32D, 32S. Okay, some would argue that 32D is the one to have. If, the shoe were on the other foot, you had to choose between two Mid-State 64 pluses, a D and an S mint. Most folks would choose a D. It's also got a CAC green bean on there. Again, as if it needed it. A little bit of toning is noted on this coin as well. How about $3,712.50? Not even the finest grade. It's a kind of like a mid-level 64 plus, as you can see. And, it's certainly a collector's joy when they end up with one of these. 28. Standing Liberty quarter. All right, we do have a few obsoletes here this week. We had a couple of those really nice Mercs, and then this one here. How about Mid-State 66 plus full head? Again, NGC getting plenty of love this week. Full head, which shows just a tremendous looking strike on this coin, and I agree. All the rivets on the shield are separate, independent, and you could tell each one apart. This one sold for $2,452.50. Again, a really nice beauty. And it's going to continue on to be that way as being one of the top tier popular 20th century types. And then finally, we have this 1966 Candy half dollar. Holy crap. Since when do these coins are worth $2 to $3 grand or more? Well, this is a special mid-set coin. We all know they didn't make proofs, right? the SMS were a hybrid of proof and business strike clashing into one. So finding one with any sort of cameo is next to impossible. And that's what we have here. This coin has cameo when most of them traditionally don't have that. And it's a 68 as well, which is a bomb of a grade. So this one right here, yeah, more than a little surprise. $2,992.50 was the final sale price. Add in tax, and you're well beyond that. So yeah, pretty cool set of coins here. As you can see, the market's still very strong. Kind of like a quick little note here. Videos for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Collect and grade responsibly, as always. I was going to go ahead and wrap things up for this edition of the Monday Market Report for the week ending November 6th, 2023. Hello, holidays. We are here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video, the channel, and the content if you haven't done so already. That's going to go ahead and do it for today. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. If you're catching this on a Monday, have a very relaxful day at work. And I will see you guys next time with more coin market data and analysis. You guys take care.